you are financially savvy and you are saving quite a bit of your take home pay. But you also have a nagging feeling that you could do more or you want to save more for your other financial goals because you are not sure that whether you will achieve all your financial goals. For many of us who are in the middle age, in your 40s, 50s, you might always be kind of afraid or apprehensive about the impending retirement, impending other financial goals like college savings and so on, and wondering, am I saving enough? This is a lingering feeling that has no easy answer. In this video, I am going to give you a structure about how to think about your financial goals and to answer that question somewhat for yourself, where you will know how much to save and whether that is enough or not. So, first of all, what are the common myths of saving? So, the main purpose of saving is to reach your financial goals, and the main process of doing that is living below your means, which means you are going to spend less than your income. Now, there are several ways of doing this. Some people say you have to do a detailed budget so that you have to keep track of your expenses. Some other budgeting techniques talk about a ratio based budget where you are going to spend 50% of your income on your needs, 30% on your wants, and then 20% you are able to save or invest. So that's a very simple formula, but and then it can be customized whether it is 20%, 10%, 5%, or even more. Maybe you'll be able to save more than 30 to 40% of your income. It all depends on the individual situation. But the problem with these rules of thumb are we don't know what is good for us. If I'm saving 30 to 40% of my income, but also at the same time squeezing my lifestyle and not living the best life today, then am I doing justice to myself and my family? On the other hand, if I'm saving, let's say 10% or 15%, is that good enough to reach all my financial goals? So there are all of these different extremes and you can play between these extremes to figure out that what is the right ratio for if you are going to follow this ratio based budget. But I personally think that there is a better way to do this, and this is called a goal based budget. And even if you do not call it a budget, it is basically first articulating all your financial goals. So, depending on where you are in your life and what kind of obligations and goals you have, there are these very common financial goals that you may have. For example, you should have a good amount of emergency fund. And I created another video about why just having 3 to 6 months of emergency fund, which is proposed by most of the financial experts, is really not enough. You need to take care of other emergencies. So once you have this emergency fund as one of your goals, the other goal could be look at your overall debt situation, how much debt you have compared to your assets. And I will create another video where we are going to talk about like what is the safe amount of debt, how to evaluate your debt situation compared to your income and assets. But if your debt situation is alarming to you, if it is not letting you sleep comfortably, then you should also make that as one of the mandatory goals. So with those two goals out of the way, the next goals are somewhat our obligations or our desires. And these goals could be saving for a college, saving for travel, let's say going on a vacation at the end of the year, or even very long-term goals like your retirement. Now, if you are very close to retirement, or if you are in your middle age, like in your 40s to 50s, then you are into that middle age where you do not have so much time, but then again, you are not almost at the doorstep of retirement. You still have time to catch up if you plan your savings well. So with these factors in mind, the first step that you should do is write down each of your goals. And then the second step is how much time do you have to reach those goals? For example, if you are, let's say, planning to buy a home, when is the earliest and when is the latest you want to buy that home? That way you will have a range of timeline to work with. Similarly, your retirement can be anywhere from 60 years to 70 years. So you again are working with a range there. But some of the goals like college savings, for example, may not be flexible because child has to have to go to the college at a certain year. So these are the different factors that you need to keep in mind. The third thing about those goals are what is the amount for each of the goals. Again, there may be a little bit of variability here, but you should be able to calculate some amount of some rough number. For example, a vacation may cost $5,000. Your college savings fund, you may like estimate for a in-state college to be about $50,000 or so. And then your retirement could be maybe a couple of millions or things like that. So once you have a very rough idea of these goals, their timelines, and what are the goals, of course, now these can be used to calculate backwards what should be your savings rate. Because ideally you want to fund as many of these goals in the right way and taking into account the time horizon that you have so that you reach those goals within that time frame. A very simple example is, let's say you want to have a college savings fund of about $50,000 in 4 years. So 4 years means you have 48 months. So that means if you start putting $1,000 per month towards this goal, then there is a high chance that you will be reaching $50,000 or more by that time horizon of 4 years. So that way, once you do this for all the goals, and the reason I talked about stretching the timeline is for some goals you will see that there may not be enough slack in your budget, or there may not be enough savings possible to reach that goal. In that case, you can push out that goal according to its timeline that you have decided. So this prioritization and reprioritization of goals are going to finally map back to how much savings you need to do. And then there are some goals you may also have to drop if they are not, if they are resulting in a very high savings rate that will actually put a lot of pressure on your wants and needs today, or even your fixed expenses today. So it may not be realistic at all. So in that case, you may have to drop one or two goals and prioritize the other ones. So I'm going to do a more detailed video on the smart planning of financial goals and how to map it back to our monthly budget. So stay tuned for that. But in the meanwhile, if you like this video, please click the like button below and subscribe to my channel so that YouTube will show these videos to people like you, and let's all of us get financially smart. Thank you.